Hey, welcome back to this week's edition of Sports Media. Our Getaway football team finished their regular season against Germantown with the end score being 40-3, which means that Triple A record is 11-0 and number one in the division. In the first and second quarter before the half, Cadet Gibson scored the first 3 touchdowns. Jeremiah threw a pass to Tyree Dawn to make the score 24, with getting 2 field goals to make the score 26-0. The Mavs kicked the field goal with the score 26-3 at the half. In the last quarter, half passed to Dawn to score another touchdown with getting a field goal. And Quay Middlebury runs a 6-yard touchdown with getting a field goal to make the end score 40-3.
Nothing. Just go out and execute and win and make plays.
I'll say KD Gibson. He worked really hard throughout practice, throughout the offseason. He executed tonight's game.
Our basketball team traveled to New York and competed the comeback over Hamilton Heights, with the end score being 89-88. Our Getaway football team had a first-round playoffs versus Lewisburg at 7 p.m. Tomorrow, the basketball team versus Clean 1. Wrestling traveled to Houston for their first meet. Scarlett give us a good insight on wrestling first meet.
Before 2021, Mississippi was the only state that did not have high school sanctioned wrestling. This year, Tupelo was fighting to make a name in wrestling. The Tupelo wrestling team would not exist without the help of Stacy Kauser, a current teacher at THS.
Brian Fox, he's over Mississippi Wrestling Foundation, and he's actually been trying to get wrestling here in Tupelo, but specifically in Mississippi, for several years now, and he's poured a lot of resources into that. And last year was the first year that Mississippi had wrestling as a sanctioned sport, and so we've been working real hard for a couple of years to get it here in Tupelo.
Most sports involve a team of players, but wrestling is one-on-one.
Wrestling is about placing yourself in opposition to somebody else's will and trying to impose your will on another person, and so there's it's just one person's will against another. There's a big grind in that. In our practices, there's a lot of grind. It's a lot about learning how to be uncomfortable and push through no matter what.
Coach Kauser has experience in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, submission grappling, and wrestling. Here's how he got to where he is.
I used to eat a lot of bacon, and I had a heart attack on campus about 4 years ago. I was severely overweight, and part of my exercise program regimen that I had was I joined a fight gym. So I got into combat sports, started off with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and when our gym, just UFM on McCullough, when we got a wrestling program, I just got involved with it.
Wrestling practices started on October 11th and currently take place at the UFM on McCullough.
We start off with generally a good warm-up, and then we move into a lot of tumbling and rolls. Then we'll usually move into some sort of technique that we drill. We move into some live wrestling, and then usually end with plyometrics and some sort of weight training or conditioning.
The year Mississippi sanctioned wrestling, there are 9 high schools that had wrestling teams. This year, there are a total of 18 competitors.
We're in the North region, so we have Oxford, who I cannot wait to murder. North Pontotoc, South Pontotoc, French Camp. There are several here, and then there a lot of the more experienced wrestlers are in the South region. So down around Jackson, Van Cleve has some good wrestlers.
Each member has an individual reason for joining the wrestling team.
Well, because I thought it was new, and I've had an experience with kickboxing, so I just wanted to add more skills to my defending, I guess.
Not a lot of people know about wrestling since it is a new sport in Tupelo. Will Piku, a member of the wrestling team, wants others to know this about wrestling.
Just a great sport. It's one of the oldest in mankind, and it teaches so much great qualities that every guy needs and every girl needs, and it's just a great sport.
Another member, Clay Crane, explains what excites him about wrestling.
Well, the hard work you put in, you get to see it out there. It's just you don't have a team, it's just you versus them.
Every member has a different level of experience. Some have been wrestling for years, while others have just started.
Well, I started wrestling when I was 7 years old. I wrestled since 7 through 13 years old, and I've been wrestling in Tupelo for the past 3 years, helping out at the Tupelo Wrestling Club. So I've practically been doing it all my life with a small hiatus, but all my life really.
Wrestling is the oldest recorded martial art and dates back to the first Olympic Games. Although it took Mississippi a while to sanction the sport, THS is glad to be able to have its own official wrestling team. I'm Scarlett Von Strahl, WTHS News.
Thank you, Scarlett. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media.